We've got Chris on technical, Neil on insight, and Steve in the driving seat. It's Talking Formula One.
Hello and welcome to Talking Formula One with me, Steve, and Chris. How are you doing, Chris?
All's well. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Very well indeed. We might be joined by Neil. He has returned from skiing. He is aware we are doing a show tonight, but you know, it's Neil. Certainly. Well, it's been a couple of weeks. Obviously, we weren't live last week. So since we did our last show, we have, of course, had the first pre-season test of 2026. The supposedly behind closed doors, no external media, no updates, no pictures, no videos, no nothing. Well, I think we got everything, really.
Yeah.
We didn't do a great job of the no updates, no news, no media stuff, did they?
Well, no. The F1, like social media channels themselves, were releasing pictures.
Yeah, this is supposed to be a behind closed doors. No one knows what's going on apart from the teams. Oh, by the way, Russell's quickest.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks very much for
Unofficial
that.
time. It was stopwatches. Yeah. Old days.
I love the footage of people up on like hills looking over the circuit and the security having to go there to shoo them away. That was quite good.
Yeah.
But so, yeah, it was, 5 days of testing. The teams were permitted to run on 3 out of the 5 days. 9 out of the 10 teams turned up. I'll leave you to guess which ones didn't. Yeah. So obviously we've had the 5 days. Nothing really can be read into it because it's very, very early doors. But I think there's already some teams which seem to be doing a better job than others. Is there any sort of that really stood out for you after that first test?
Well, the obvious is obviously the Mercedes, who just kept going and going and going and going, and they completed their run plan within 2.5 days, and they did the other half extra. So they were just on another level, considering it's all new power units, everything's brand new, not a single issue is what they had, which is
Yeah, it was bulletproof, wasn't it?
what you want, but
the last time we had a major engine change,
the times were quick. Yeah. Well, that's the reason why we had this extra test, was because Formula One and FIA were concerned about everything blowing up again, so they wanted to give the teams an extra 3 days. Doesn't really look like they need it. All engines look pretty good. Even the Audi. I mean, the Audi had a few technical issues, but even then it wasn't blowing itself up this left, right, and centre.
No, that's it. When 2014 rolled around and they had the pre-season test of the cars breaking down, they didn't cover. A lot of teams hardly covered any mileage at all. The Red Bull had problems and other teams as well. But this year, it's pretty good.
I guess Honda is the only one you got a question mark on, obviously, because they only did limited running. But I think that was more down to car design than anything.
Yeah.
I think they wanted. I think Newey was looking at things.
Well, that was the intriguing one, wasn't it? It finally broke cover Thursday afternoon, didn't it? So they only had a couple of days running, and that's the one everyone wanted to see. It's the first Adrian Newey designed Aston Martin. What crazy design is he going to have when it breaks cover? And it broke cover in just a black livery. But instantly it stood out, didn't it? I mean, it was the talking point of. I mean, the first talking point was, "Oh God, Williams aren't making it. What's going on there?" Then it was, "Look how good the Mercedes are," and it finished with, "Look at the Aston Martin." And it broke down after 4 slow laps, which not an ideal start. But it's an interesting looking car, isn't it? Once you've sort of analysed and looked it over in depth.
There isn't anything. The front looks quite primitive to me. He's not going to bolt on. I wouldn't be surprised if that's half a show car, to be fair, if I'm honest. I mean, there's a lot. The rear is where I think the rear and the side was a lot of where what he's got on, and then the minute he showed, I don't think the front wing was particularly anything to write home about. I don't think he bothered. I think that was just a showish front wing. The side pods was the interesting one, because you can't really hide them, because you need to go with what the crash structure is. So That was interesting. How aggressive he's gone on them.
Extremely aggressive, yeah.
But bar that, there wasn't overly too much there that I thought was groundbreaking. But they only did 5 laps, and they obviously only really came to the test because they were there, and they needed. They wanted to. It was just a shakedown. It was another shakedown. That's all it was. Like filming.
The things that really caught my eye with that. Yeah, absolutely. The things that really caught my eye with that, it was the sort of a quite bulbous nose compared to some of the designs we've seen on other cars.
Look, that's what I mean.
And the Viking horns.
Yeah, it looked clumsy, the front nose. I thought that looked show car-y to me. I was like, is that the way they're going, or is that again sort of something that they've just put on the front because they've got something else coming? But the horns are good. Good to see the horns back. It's one of my favourite cars, the old 2005 McLaren. That was MP420, I think.
And that one, it was a delicate car, but my
Here it is. Talking of McLaren.
Neil.
2 seconds.
Good evening, Neil.
The way you were talking about the Aston, I thought you were talking about the McLaren, because I'd say out of the two, the McLaren is the one that looks boring.
I think that was deliberate.
McLaren is very...
I genuinely think it's deliberate, McLaren. They are not showing their hand at all.
As with the Aston nose, it's really sculpted underneath.
Yeah. I've not... It's hard to go into detail because of the colour it is and the type of pictures we've got about it. It's hard to really see any detail.
I heard somewhere that them big air ducts on the engine cover, that's the maximum cooling, and it's not going to look like that the whole time. Is what I heard. What are your thoughts?
Could well be. As I say, that car, I'll be very surprised if the car they rock up in Australia is anything like that. It will be evolution after evolution. It depends what they do with the rear. Yeah, obviously, will other teams bring back the horns on?
Ferrari have got the horns, haven't they?
Yeah, well, the horns obviously they increase, they direct the flow onto the rear wing to increase downforce. So I don't know. We'll see. But it's interesting. As soon as we got back to that sort of spec of car, he's brought them back.
Yeah, you've got a lot of teams that have gone quite big with the airboxes, so they've taken quite a lot of the extremes in that area. So you need to do a bit of the opposite, narrow down and get the horns. But in some aspects, it just tidies up the air. They're not the be all or end all.
They're just very much an evolution of the mid 2000 cars.
Yeah,
they're like just.
I watched something where some of the strakes at the front of the floor, they're basically, especially the Mercedes one, it was copied from this guy who used to be there all those seasons ago.
Yeah.
It's like as soon as we've gone away from
really caught my eye with the Aston.
The ground effect and gone to the flat floor again. It's a bit of copy and paste of what they used to have.
Never a flat floor again.
Yeah.
No.
Give it a couple of the races, and you'll see. Do you remember the 2008 the Sauber or the Honda, and you had those Dumbo wing ear things on the front, just above the nose cone?
Sorry, Mercedes. Mercedes has that little slit at the top of the nose. I know they do it for Java cooling, but it's the only one I can see that's got it. So that's interesting. Just where they go. There's a lot to.
Yeah. Guarantee when they rock up in Australia for the first race, the cars that show there will be completely different from the ones that we've seen at this test, and probably Bahrain as well. There's so much they can refine and work with. It's really interesting. I mean, there's certain teams you can already feel that you've got a good, or that have got a good, not jump on the field, but have got a good footer. Like Mercedes, for example. They are looking good. They're looking strong. Ferrari, I think Ferrari went quite under the radar, but they're looking quite decent. Hamilton seems happy. Leclerc seems happy. It's early days, but
it's
Ferrari
interesting.
Like to go very fast in testing and then be absolutely crap for the season.
Depends who you hear, you read, and what you hear. There's there's split opinions in Ferrari. There's some of them that think that they're where they were last season, third or fourth quickest. And then there's some who think actually they could well be a couple of upgrades away from being the quickest. It's a bit of an odd one. I mean, they have gone quite basic on the car, I think. But apparently, there's still the drivability isn't all that great. But you can iron that out, I guess, with a few tweaks and here and there, upgrades here and there. But then you don't know, do you? The Red Bull was running around, but they only took soft tyres. The Red Bull, so. I don't know. Yeah, well, we can't read too much into that. I was just more looking if there's any sort of like new designs or any new philosophies. Easy for me to say out there which I don't think there is. I haven't seen anything.
No.
Yet. They've all gone for that.
One thing that really caught my eye.
What are you going to say, Steve?
Sorry, go on, Neil.
The holes that you can see to the, diffuser at the back. We've got a delay, obviously. Yeah, so the holes at the back there. Do you reckon a lot of teams will try and go that design, or?
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, you'll get
all the big teams. I think
sort of the double diffuser thing, wouldn't it? You know, you'll get a couple of teams that will. Other teams will join in.
I think they've all got it. I had a funny joke
the thing that
the other
made me
day.
chuckle when I saw it was real delay.
I mean, the joke was the Alpine might be quite quick.
Yeah. Wow.
I haven't seen much of their running, so I couldn't tell you anything about them.
No. Apparently they are.
So we've seen strong teams. Obviously, like I say, Mercedes are looking good. You know, Red Bull have been pretty solid. There's been no real standouts that have, you know, brought out constant red flags or constant issues like we had, you know, going back to sort of 2014. Cadillac was sort of quietly getting on with their work. They were doing okay. Audi as well. They had a few breakdowns, Audi, but you can expect it's a brand new power unit going in a brand new car. But they've, you know, it seems that all teams really have, 9 out of 10 teams have been quite productive in that first test, and they've been cracking on and doing their run plans, and they've seemed to be getting on okay. So there's no one really, apart from the obvious, that you'd really say is on the back foot, would you say?
Do you think Cadillac look as green as some make out to be, or are they doing okay?
I think they're doing all right. They've got the drivers. If they want expertise in setting a car up, they've got 2 very good drivers at that.
They'll be at the back of the grid, but they won't be horrendous. It'll be on how quickly they can develop the car. What's their rate of development? If they can't develop it that quickly at the minute due to the lack of resource and personnel, etc., then it may, towards the end of the season, become a bit more of a hardship. But I think they'll be all right. I mean, they'll roll around at the back for most of the season, but give them a year or two.
Do you think Audi will be back there with them, or are they looking okay?
No, Audi, I think, will be back there as well. I think their power unit's a little bit off from all courses. I don't think a lot will change coming into the year, if I'm honest. I think the top 5 will be the top 5. We're just waiting for Williams to turn up and do a brawn, and do pitch up the final testing day and be fastest. And I think, that's why they've not been here. But they spent the week just colouring in.
I really hope that's the case.
I think many people would love that.
They just spent the week refining it.
I can't see it myself, but let's hope.
All they can really hope for is solidify last year, potentially improve. 5th. No one expected them to get 5th last year, and it was a great season. All they can really do is look to build on last year. No one's going to expect them to jump to the front of the grid and do a brawn, which, as much as I would love that.
So
they've got 2 incredible drivers. They've got a very good boss. They need the car.
What is a success for Williams this season then? Considering they've written off effectively 2 years of racing for this car, and now they've turned up late. They've failed crash tests. You know, they're overweight because they've had to reinforce the front wing. What is a success for Williams this season?
Personally, I would say it's got to be fourth, because if they finish fifth, then they've made no progress since last year, despite, like you say, writing off 2 years of car development and progress purely in the name of these new regulations. But a fifth again would be a solid result, considering they're going to be fighting teams that have got so much of a higher ceiling and a higher budget than what Williams have got. But they have chucked all their eggs into this basket, so it's got to be at least fourth. Yeah. When Vowles took over, he said, I don't care about 2024, don't care about 2025, it's all on 2026. So something has either gone seriously wrong in car development, or something has gone so seriously right that they feel that they don't even need to attend the first test, and they can just do virtual testing. And for some reason put gambling blings on their wheels, which look awful. I don't know. It's got to be fourth as an improvement. It's got to be to call this season a success. It's got to be fourth with podiums.
I think they've got to challenge for a win at some point, or if not win. They got podiums last season. All right, it was a bit out of the blue, but they've got to be up there at points.
Yeah,
for me,
for sure. They can't have.
For me, it's difficult.
It shouldn't take a crazy race to get a podium. It should be like they're always in contention.
Yeah,
there's too many teams that have underperformed, and because they've got all the facilities, if they start performing, then that makes it harder and harder for Williams. And as good as their season was last season, I think trying to push into higher than fifth, I think to consolidate and do a good showing and get another fifth would be reasonable. Because I say these other teams that have been underperforming that should be doing better.
Yeah.
Well, realistically, you'd say that Aston Martin will be a team that are challenging for that sort of spot as well, because they've got, obviously Fernando, they've got an incredibly clever designer / team principal now in Adrian Newey. They've got a Works Honda deal. They've got a state-of-the-art wind tunnel, state-of-the-art facility, a budget that is through the roof compared to Williams. So you'd really say that Aston would turn it around after a couple of really crap years. Was it 2023 or 4 that Fernando was getting regular podiums? 23, wouldn't it?
23, yeah.
Yeah, so 24 and 25 were terrible.
Yeah, he was the second quickest driver on the grid, wasn't he, for the first 5-6 races? Would have won races if Max weren't so darn quick,
and if they didn't mess up Monaco. But yeah, it's you would imagine realistically Aston would be the biggest gainers out of all this, particularly with their budget, their facilities. So it will be hard for Williams to cling on to where they were last year. But they need to have come up with an absolute blinder here. And I know it was only a show car. It was only a render that we saw yesterday. It was just... I really hope that's not the car they're racing with, because those side pods look absolutely atrocious. They look like something you'd find on a back marker.
It's gone, Neil. He's
Steve.
disappeared. He's unplugged himself.
He's so distraught with that car that he's left.
Yeah, the jackpot joy wheels have done him in. They've sent him off.
Oh dear.
There we are, Neil.
I think it really was just a bit of artwork, because I think someone mentioned that the suspension wasn't even complete. Were the bottom of the wishbones missing?
Yeah, a lot of it. I noticed with the McLaren barge boards and things, a lot of it's all graphic design. They're hiding stuff. They're trying not to give away too much. They're blurring things out with a little bit of it here and there. So, yeah, I'm sure they've...
I think there'll be, as you've mentioned, that there'll be so many different designs appear closer and closer to to the first race weekend. They don't want to give anything away, and a lot of them are showing.
The ground effect was the same. There's a lot. There was interpretations all over the shop for that.
Yeah, it's just. I think they'll crank a little bit more on the wings as they can open them so much. They can get away with having more drag in those areas.
Yeah, with the wings are interesting though, because where they put the actuators on the front wing is Ferrari have them on the actual on the planes of the wing, whereas McLaren, Aston Martin, and all them have it underneath the nose, behind the nose. So that's something a bit of a.
I guess some teams will use them as turning vanes for aerodynamic reasons.
But apparently, the Aston Martin is the team that everybody expects to have a hydraulic system rather than the actuator like the old DRS used to have. It's going to actually have a hydraulic system that will save weight. Apparently, Aston Martin is the one that's why their nose is the way it is. Which, I mean, if it saves weight, I suppose it's what do you call it? Tenths of a lap, but I don't know how much it will. Whether teams will follow, whether they have the scope to follow. That's the thing. If you don't put it in your design of the front wing, structure, then it's quite hard to put it into it.
Yeah, that's the thing with this cost cap. Because that's one thing with Ferrari, they might have better designs coming, but if they've gone out and given this fairly basic car and they're just hoping to find out rather than create it themselves, just to go with whatever looks like it's the best design, it's going to cost a lot of money.
No, definitely. Yeah, I don't actually.
I heard that Aston was quite heavy, but Newey was under the impression that he wants to get the aerodynamics down, and then later on they can lighten it up.
Then trim it off. Fair point. I mean, if he knows, then everybody will follow suit the way he does.
The rear suspension, that not being on the gearbox, being up on the wing strut.
That's the thing. I've not seen a picture that I could really see clearly of it. I don't. But
you know where the two pylons go up to the centre of the rear wing?
Yes, I think I know. Yeah. It's an interesting concept. Again, though, that's probably quite easy. Wow, is it easily copied? I would probably think you probably would be.
Apparently, there's a lot of weight involved on it, and you've got to make it really structural, rather than going fairly central, lower down, solid on the gearbox. You've had to really beef up.
Yeah, it comes to the push rod pull rod system, doesn't it? It'll have its advantages, it'll have its disadvantages, and I suppose you're not going to remodify a whole car to put that in if it's marginal gains rather than the double diffuser style gains.
It's basically creating a beam wing out of your rear suspension.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure there's probably another way you could probably try and create a similar, downforce effect on that than you would redesign the whole rear of your car. So, I mean, it might even next year, and people might think actually that would be good for next year rather than this year. Considering
these new regs with the floor going slightly backwards to other regs and getting the rake back into them, I'm surprised they've, like Aston, have gone so heavy on the anti-dive, because it's been mentioned that was really important for the last generation where you needed to keep the floor really
because you've got to keep it flat. Yeah, well, with the rake coming back, you don't need you don't need all that.
Yeah, because the anti-dive creates less feel and you get less grip, like natural grip. So it's just strange to me that they're that worried about keeping the aero in the same place that they've potentially created negatives in other areas.
We'll see. It's like everything now. They'll have a pros and cons to them all, but it's overall lap time that wins most of the time. So I think a lot of people will be just looking at the Aston to try and find those clever new things, and then think, But I hope that people actually are thinking of their own things as well, rather than waiting for Nui to design something to then copy.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at with Ferrari. I hope they've got their own ideas and they're not, like I say, turned up with a fairly. I like their front nose where it's quite slim at the front, but
Yeah,
I don't know
I
how
quite like
much that.
Ferrari personally. But
Yeah, Lewis had some smiles, but it's been mentioned that Alonso did as well. Where I guess they're all just trying to go into it positive, and we'll see what actually happens.
it certainly will be a generation of car that would lend more to Lewis's driving style than the old one. But they none of them have really tried and done the lift and coast, the throttle moderation they're going to have to do in races. It's very much go on track, just go around, and we'll make sure everything works for 3 days with the test, rather than actually trialing anything and working on how and where you should deploy your power, your overtake, and all those things. There was even rumours that they weren't even using sustainable fuel. It was normal petroleum they were using. So
God knows. Yeah, I hadn't heard any of that. With their lap times that you said were getting quite close to other quick times have passed. Were they basically going on a hot lap and then doing a cool down, or?
I don't know. I just saw that the lap time that Russell did was apparently a second slower than Piastri's last year. So, but obviously you don't know what modes they are, or I don't know. You don't know what they're running, but it seems positive because I expected them to be 5-6 seconds slower come Melbourne. So
yeah,
hopefully they're not. Hopefully they're quick. Hopefully they're nimble. They already look smart. From what I've seen from head-on shots down the straight of Barcelona, you can see that they're smaller. The smaller cars. They're more back into the 2014 type, probably because the wings are small, so it makes it look.
Yeah, is it? I know they've decreased the sizes of them. I think one of the biggest ones is the length of the front nose on the previous generation was huge. So when you get there like 5 meters worth of car, it's because that nose stuck out so far. I think because they've shortened that area, they look slightly less ridiculous in length. As well as the, was it 10, 100 mil that they've sort of taken between the wheelbase?
They look more nimble. Look more nimble to me. They look like they could actually go around a racetrack properly, rather than the bus, the old buses that we had for the last couple of years. The engines, and also we haven't touched on the engines. Sound like engines.
I know. I heard like a side-by-side comparison of last year's, and it just sounds like you've demuffled. You've got the same old drone going on.
You don't have all the stuff from the MGK. Oh, there it is.
Jesus Christ! Sorry about that, boys. My camera just absolutely crapped itself and it kicked me out.
Kick you out, Johnny Roger.
I need to get myself some new equipment, I think.
What are your thoughts on the sound of them?
Yeah, they sound pretty good. The I can't remember which one I heard, but the Audi sounds decent. I like the sound of that one. Yeah, I would always miss the V10s, but
yeah. For me, until you get the revs up higher and higher, you do away with the fuel flow, or now they've got an energy usage within a certain time frame. Basically the same rubbish, but because that stops you from revving higher, because you're just wasting more fuel then. But without getting those revs up, you're not getting the nice peaky sounds of yesteryear.
No,
for me, these V6s, they're louder, but it's still not really doing it for me.
No. Well, I hate to come back in after about 5-10 minutes away and break up the party, but I know Chris has got things he needs to be getting on with this evening, so we do need to mosey off, unfortunately. It's so nice just sitting in the background listening to you two chat away. I quite like that. I might do that more often. I could still hear you. I could still watch you. It just wouldn't let me back in, and I had to alter a few things. Stupid computers. But there we are. Thank you very, very much for watching. We shall see you next week. When does testing start again? Is it next week or the week after?
Next week.
9th.
This week.
McLaren's got an unveiling on the 9th, and it's after that, isn't it?
Nice. I think so. Yeah. No, I definitely won't. I like being part of this. It's fun. But there we are. So we shall see you next week. So have a great week. Enjoy. Take care. I've been Steve. He has been Neil. He has been Chris. We shall see you then. Cheers.